Hi, beautiful. How are you this beautiful Monday morning? Oh, it was an amazing weekend for me. I don't know if you guys are on social with me at all. You definitely saw some of my excitement this weekend. I went to my previous boss, Joe Chura. I worked at Dealer Inspire for many years with Joe, and has a podcast now called Not Almost There, and he had an event this weekend called Go, and it was amazing. It was truly, truly amazing. Colleen Lieberstein is part of our Wings group, and she is the woman behind the scenes there. She really is. So she's part of the podcast. She's really the mastermind. I'm going to tell you, she's the one who is able to book all of the guests that he has on the podcast. She's doing an amazing job with it. So hats off to you, Colleen, for just what is becoming an awesome podcast. I listen to it every week. It's called Not Almost There. And it's got a bit of a fitness edge about it, definitely about, making your life better, making better choices about whatever it is, like food, mindset, all of those things. Definitely makes you think about those things, which is great. I like something that makes you think, makes you grow. And that podcast definitely does. And great stories behind it. Joe's doing a wonderful job. I see him growing each and every week. Colleen's doing a great job with all the work she's doing. So kudos to that whole team, and definitely to her for pulling all of it together. But Go was the first event that they've done, and the concept was bringing together a bit of sort of that sporting event type piece, but also with inspiration. So in the past, Joe's run an event called Refuel, and I've always loved it. Definitely is something that refuels you for the next year, but it's bringing together really amazing speakers to come and talk about their lives and their experiences, and kind of get you thinking about the next year. And it's usually held in December. I'm sure it will be held this year as well. And I always recommend everybody take a moment. Last year it was a virtual event. This year I'm not sure whether they're doing virtual or a live event. But whatever it is, I highly recommend everybody take a look at that, because it truly, truly is amazing. And it just awakens you. It just awakens you, makes you think. All of the speakers have always been amazing. Again, Colleen does a great job. I know she works with Joe on who's coming, but she does an amazing job solidifying those guests and getting them on board. But truly awesome. So this was a bit of a challenge. It was a physical challenge. That's where we started. It was a 5K with stop points along the way, where you had to do a little bit of more of they called it beast mode, I believe. And, whether it be burpees or jumping jacks or whatever it was. And honestly, it was definitely challenging. It was hot. We were in a cornfield, and parts of it were in a cornfield, and I have very strong allergies. And so I definitely had a tougher time. I don't know. I think in some ways my fitness levels kind of go up and down, and I consider myself pretty physically fit. I'm active, but I definitely, from a running perspective, running is a challenge for me. So I didn't do as well as I had wanted, but pushed myself through it, which I think was the whole point for him. I think that's what Joe was really wanting, is to make sure that people were pushing themselves, and that you can go further. Your mind you can go further than your body tells you, and to really push yourself a little bit. So, and then there were amazing speakers and a lot of inspiration. And for me right now, I'm always looking for that. I'm always looking for, that inspiration to keep going and keep pushing me forward. I seek out those messages in the world. So for me, it was really an inspirational day, and I got a lot out of it. And I was really, really thankful. I feel like those moments come along the way sometimes, and it's like, yeah, I was meant to be here, and it definitely refueled me a bit. So that was awesome. And then that night I went to see Luke Bryan in concert, and I haven't been to a concert since way before the pandemic. The summer before the pandemic hit was the last time I went to a concert. So it felt surreal and weird to be around so many people. But the music was amazing. Once I got there, it was just awesome to hear live music and to feel the music again. And I put my gold cowboy boots on, and it was truly, truly awesome. So just a wonderful weekend for me to feel all of that, and refueled me for sure. So I think we got to seek those messages out, and we got to have those weekends sometimes. So one of the things that came to me this weekend, that I just kept thinking about, and really was resonating with me, was, sorry, my computer was messing up there. How many messages we have sort of flying at us. I take notes sometimes throughout the week to kind of figure out what I want to talk about on the focus of the week. And one of the things that I think some of us struggle with is like, how many messages are really coming at us? How many different messages, and how do we choose who we're listening to? And I'm so fortunate that I've got so many wonderful people around me. And, all of you have been such a great part of my life, and just all the interactions that I've had so far with Wings, and, building this, and the great relationships that we're building so far have been amazing. But all the different things sort of flying at us, you've got all sorts of different messages sort of flying at your face. What do you listen to? So many people trying to, find their way and figure things out, pulling us, so many things pulling us in different directions. One of the women at the conference, or at Go, was talking about like, and one of the questions she asked to one of the speakers was like, let's talk a little bit about balance, and, how do you find that? And in general, the speaker said, actually, he said, like, balance doesn't exist. Like, the thought of balance doesn't exist. And I thought that was interesting, because it's the first time I've ever heard somebody say like balance doesn't exist. And it made me think about balance, because I think balance is different for every single person. And my balance is going to be totally different than somebody else's. And what I think is balanced and what makes me feel good is going to be totally different than what makes somebody else feel good. So I think there's something to what he said and what his answer was. And I thought it was really, really interesting. But what does balance feel like for you? And this whole concept of like, everything needs to be balanced out, especially for women, as we think of like work and life and balancing all of that out, being a good mom and being a good spouse, and being whatever your life is, being a good student, being a good, daughter, being like whatever, wherever you're fitting in with this life, like, how do you balance out all of these pieces and not get too over the top on one? I think that's the biggest part. If you are only work, or you are only your kids, or you are only, I think that's the one thing when I think of balance. If it's just one, if you've just got one and you're sinking everything into that one, I think that's the slippery slope. And that would be my piece of like, okay, maybe we really need to rework this, and maybe we need to figure out how to make sure we're not doing all of that. Someone who's working 12, 14-hour days every single day, like, it just becomes something that's not necessarily healthy. When I left Dealer Inspire, I had been working a lot. I definitely was present in my home, but not as present. If I look back now, not as present as I should have been in some ways. Hindsight's always 2020, but I prided myself on who I was at work, and I identified with who I was as a professional woman. And in that, I got a little lost in that was my identity. And I was sitting with one of my mentors. I actually went in to visit with one of my mentors, and his name is Bob Navarre, and he owned Valley Honda. And I sat across from Bob. I'll never forget the day that I did this. I sat across from Bob, and I was a little lost in the moment because I had left DI. I'd gone to Force. Force wasn't all that I thought it was going to be. There was a few moments where I was getting a little lost, and I sat across from Bob, and I was kind of going through that moment of, I'm not sure who I am. Work is such a huge part of who I am. And he said, I'm going to stop you right there. He goes, I'm going to stop you right there. He goes, I'm not Valley Honda. And I said, what do you mean? He owned Valley Honda. Like, to me, like, Bob Navarre was Valley Honda, right? And he's like, I'm Bob Navarre. I work at Valley Honda. And you guys, I was floored. I can't really describe that moment for me. It honestly took my breath away, because this was my mentor telling me that he didn't think he was Valley Honda. And I was thinking, well, he is Valley Honda because he owns it. And it was such a huge thing for me, because he was telling me, like, Nicolle, be more than just one thing. Be more than just that one thing. And you are more. And he was telling me, you are more than just that one thing. And I knew that I was a mother, and I pride myself on the mother that I am. But I was a little lost in this identity of, like, I needed to be this strong, this strong executive woman. And that was an identity that I had to have. I still feel like I bring a lot to my work, for sure, but it wasn't who I was. It's not all I am. And there was a big piece of that I needed to hear and needed to learn. And I think there's an element of that when I'm talking about all of the messages that are coming at us, sometimes we can hear the exact same thing a million times, but it takes this one person to say it to us, and it clicks different. It just clicks different. We hear it different, or we maybe are in a different spot. Like we're hearing it when we're in a different spot, and it now clicks different. And that is allowing us to kind of move through that. So to me, it's all about the growth within. And I think we have to have a mentor. So one of the things that I would love to leave you guys with today is, like, who's your mentor? Who are the people that you turn to when you're searching? Are there people? And if there aren't, really seeking out those people and saying, like, I need to make sure that I have some sort of a connection with someone that can help me along this pathway. I think it's a really important thing to have people that you can turn to when you need them. The second piece that I want to make sure I leave you with today is that, we're not all, you can't be comparing to other people. This one has a drive that's different from this one, or this one's doing things different. I only want you to compare yourself to you, and the checkpoints, and making sure that it feels good is all within. It's all within. It shouldn't be external, because only you can say if you're on your path, because it's all about how it feels inside you. No one else can say, yes, you're on your path, or no. It's all about how it feels inside. For me, I feel like we each have a calling. We each have something that we feel like we're very, very good at, and we should be doing that thing. And that's what we're pathing towards. And along the way, we're growing. Along the way, we're finding new skills and new things. We might stumble. We might take a wrong road. Lord knows I've taken a million wrong roads. But we just have to keep growing through it. And are we making roads? Am I better today than I was yesterday? I say that a lot. Like, am I getting better today? I look back at some of the stuff that's happened over the last 20 years of my career, 30 years of my career. There's moments where I'm like, wow, why did I get so worked up over that? That was so wild, or why was I doing that? And I look at it now and I can smile at the growth, the tremendous amount of growth from that girl to this girl, tremendous amount of growth. And that's all I want. That's all I want to continue to do. So just going easy on ourselves when it comes to that stuff, but also realizing like, I'm more than my job. That was a big one for me. That was a big, big one for me. So that's my whole thing. Wings, women in new growth situations. So learning, expanding, becoming, you know me, I always make little notes for myself. And then everyone is made up of different elements. Like we have to make sure we realize that you can't compare yourself to someone else because you're completely made up of different elements. I think that's one of the things that really, really resonates with me with DISC, with this new program that I'm working with, because it shows clearly that we're all so different, but we're all so necessary. There's not one right combination. We're all so different. And every single one of us is necessary to make the whole world go round. And to make, that's what makes us happy. Our makeup and who we are is, and figuring out like what job or what types of work we should be doing. So there's a Pink song called All I Know So Far, and I highly recommend that you guys go listen to it. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. I listen to it a lot lately, but she talks about let the walls crack because it lets the light in, and it resonates with me because it's my favorite quote from Rumi. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Those are the things, those little cracks, that's where the light all comes in. And those cracks are there because we had to learn, we had to let the light in. That's how life is. So always seeking, always learning. Those are my little things. So that's what I have this week. It's been, it's a little all over the place this week for me because it was such an inspirational weekend for me. That's what I get like when I have a weekend like this. I have just this, I feel infused. I feel like it just all came at me, and I just have to get some of it out, and it feels amazing. And I know that I'm going to do a lot with it, and it came at the right time, and it feels really, really good. But I hope that you each and every one of you has a mentor. And I hope that you're seeking, if you don't, that you're seeking somebody out, and that you have somebody to turn to when and if you get a little lost along the way. We all need that. We all need that. I hope that Wings is a place for mentorship as we continue to grow this group. That's a huge part of what we're doing, and what we're growing. So have a wonderful, wonderful week, you guys. Find ways to find inspiration and growth. And I hope that you're just finding it everywhere right now. The last week of August, get outside, get that body moving, feel that sunshine. As we think about even the craziest thought of heading into fall, which I love the season of fall, but we got to really hold on to these last few days of summer. So enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Have a good one. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here with me. Love you guys. Bye.